The violin snapped in two as it struck the floor, its strings shrieking in protest. Mira stood frozen, staring at the splintered wood. Her hands shook, not from the fall, but from the months of failure that had led to it. "I'll never play it right," she whispered, eyes stinging with tears. "I'm not meant for this." Her grandfather looked up from his chair by the window, where he sat each day with the same quiet patience he had given his garden, his chessboard, and his music. He didn't move toward her. Instead, he said softly, "Do you know how many violins I broke before I learned to play?" She turned, confused. "You broke yours too?" "No," he said, a smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "But I wanted to. Many times." Mira dropped to the floor beside the ruined instrument. "It doesn't matter how much I practice. I'm always last chair. Everyone else gets it faster." He nodded slowly, as if remembering something far away. "Let me show you something." He rose with effort and led her to the attic. Dust hung in the air like old memories, and from the shadows he pulled a battered case. Inside lay his first violin, scratched, stained, the bow frayed, the wood worn. "It looks awful," Mira said. "It sounded worse," he replied with a chuckle. "But I played it every day, even when it sounded like cats fighting." She traced the marks on its surface. "Why didn't you give up?" "Because every mistake was a step. And patience," he said, placing the violin gently back, "was the bow that pulled me forward." They returned downstairs in silence. Weeks passed. Mira saved up for a second-hand violin. It wasn't perfect, but it held its tune. She practiced, not just when it felt easy, but especially when it didn't. She stayed after lessons, asked questions, repeated passages until they no longer trembled. Slowly, the screeches softened. The notes began to sing. She stopped looking sideways at other players and started listening to her own rhythm. Months turned into a year. During the winter recital, when the lights dimmed and she stepped forward for a solo, her hands still shook, but not from fear. She played. And in the last note, the hall held its breath, then rose in quiet applause. Backstage, her grandfather waited, holding a single white rose. "I didn't think I'd ever be here," she said, cheeks flushed. "You were here the moment you picked up the second violin," he replied. She smiled, and for the first time, believed him. Because in the quiet moments between failure and progress, she had found her strength. And she had waited long enough to meet it.